Everton look to be maybe a little active in the January window. Could Tom
Yeah, he's one
Fellows
player
make the
that
step
has
up to
been
the
on
Premier
Everton's
League in
radar for a
January?
while now. They did consider him in the summer transfer window, but West Brom weren't overly keen to lose Tom Fellows, who has become a key man for the Baggies. Again, a young player with huge potential. I think he's featured in every championship game for West Brom this season. Still only 21. They did turn down a bid from Southampton in the summer transfer window, West Brom, of around £10 million. So they're probably looking at least 15, maybe rising to £20 million for somebody like Fellows. I think that would probably price him out of a move to Everton in this January transfer window. We know that Sean Dyche would ideally like to strengthen out wide if he could in the January window. That's probably why Fellows is probably one of a number of names that Everton are looking at. But I think it'll be a hard deal to do because although West Ham do have, or it's not West Brom, sorry, have their financial problems, I don't think they'll want to lose Fellows, especially midway through the season, and also in a season when they're hopefully aiming for promotion themselves. So yeah, I think he's somebody who's on the list at Everton, but a deal in January would be highly unlikely.
It's a tough deal, isn't it? That's a tough deal to do, especially West Brom. They're sat sixth in the Championship at the moment in the playoff places. They're going to want to at least be in the playoffs. Just lost the manager to Valencia, Carlos Corberán. They're not going to want one of the best influential players moving to the Premier League now. They'll dig in. They'll want top dollar for him. I think that's a tough one to do, but I do.
You don't think that potentially having lost the manager for the season that they almost think they have to restart going into next year and maybe get a potential profit for Tom Fellows?
No, they won't see it as that. The board, the club won't see it as that. His value at his age, what is he? He's in England under 21s, 21 years old. His value ain't going to go down unless Pete tells me his contract's up. At
Yeah, I think his price tag will only rise if he continues playing for West Brom
months.
and helping them in this promotion race. So yeah, West Brom are in a strong position.
And Paul, how about Ryan Cherki? That's a little bit of a different type of transfer we're talking about from Lyon, but we know they have their financial issues themselves. Could you see Everton being able to make a shock move for a player who's, looked at all across Europe?
Well, he's the attacking wide player that Everton want. We know that that's an area that they're looking at. I thought it was good in the Olympic team, in the French team in the summer. Had a real impact in that. He's only 21. Played a lot of games for somebody his age, and I think he's a top player. If Everton can get him and make the most of Lyon's financial situation, that will play a part in it without a doubt. He won't be the only one at Lyon that people are looking at. But if Everton do or are successful with a bid, they're going to have to do this one under the radar because they won't be going alone. There'll be a lot of teams going in with them.
And we know Lyon, as already spoken about, have these financial issues. Everton already brought in Aurel Mangala from Lyon. Looking at Ryan Cherki, Pete, how about Maxence Caqueret? Could they just continue to kind of go to the well here? Or are these links just coming up because of we know the financial issues at Lyon,
Yeah, I
and
think
we
it's
know
probably
that Everton
because there could
themselves
be a fire
aren't
sale at
flush with
Lyon.
cash.
A number of clubs around Europe are looking at some of their players to see if they can maybe prize them away with cheap fees and maybe thinking they can land them for bargain sort of transfers in this January transfer window. Cherki, again, will be an unbelievable signing for Everton. I don't see it happening myself. I think there'll be bigger clubs and more lucrative offers on the table for Rayan Cherki than maybe what Everton can offer. I think PSG are very keen to sign him. There's been talk that Liverpool could even be interested in Cherki as well. So I think that might be a tough one for Everton to do. Caqueret is an interesting player, central midfielder, sort of like a defensive midfielder. I think Everton are quite well equipped in that position for me. They've got Idrissa Gueye, they've got Mangala already from Lyon, who's starting to find his best form for Sean Dyche's side in recent weeks. Was very impressive in those recent draws against Chelsea, Arsenal and Manchester City as well. So I don't think it's a key priority for Everton trying to look for a defensive midfielder, but I'm sure like Everton, they've got this takeover that's finally gone through, but I don't expect them to be spending really heavily in this January transfer window. I think the main goal is ensure survival in the Premier League and then try and build next season with the Freaking Group hopefully having more money to spend, and hopefully then Everton's debts are more under control, and they'll have the right balance between PSR and FFP as well to allow them to spend more. So I think Everton will probably be looking at more loan deals rather than big money signings come this January. So I think a deal for Caqueret probably unlikely as well.
And you mentioned loan deals, Pete. What type of loan deals are we looking at for Everton? Are there any names on the radar that
Yeah,
could
well,
potentially
obviously,
pop up who are
Sean
available
Dyche and the
on loan
recruitment
from
team
their
will be
parent
looking
clubs?
at potential players who are not maybe playing at their parent clubs right now. That's why they've been linked with a player as well, Yunus Agun, who was on loan at Leicester last season, helped them win promotion. He's having a very good season at Galatasaray. Whether Galatasaray will be open to loaning him again with an obligation, that might be something that Everton could consider. Most of these teams now, if you're going to loan out a player, you'll want to include an obligation to buy, especially if Everton do stay in the Premier League. Those wide attacking positions are the key area that Sean Dyche wants to improve in. Obviously, Jack Harrison's been a bit inconsistent this season, so he would like to bring in a new right-sided winger, and then I think he would ideally like to bring in sort of cover at the full-back areas as well. And as I said, the recruitment team will be working overtime to see if there's any players out there who are not playing regularly that maybe Everton could take them on loan and with obligations or options to sign come next summer if they are still a Premier League club.